been the key these last couple of games to you guys finding ways to get victories?
I mean, just trying to find a more consistent rotation, trying to find some level of consistency with that has been, one of the great challenges. It's well documented. We're trying to figure out our bigs. It's well documented. We're navigating through a single point guard and a bunch of young wings. And so you're just trying to, find some symmetry and some balance, some continuity with all of those things. And I feel like slowly we're getting there.
You mentioned the bigs. What's been the biggest challenge to really finding the right combinations that work with some level of consistency for you with those guys? Because you got a lot of them, obviously.
I mean, there is a body of work now that is enough to make some assumptions, some decisions in a more responsible way. It's not like, we've just all met each other. We've been doing this for a while. And so the great challenge is sometimes pairings aren't as successful as you wish they were. And so now what does that mean? I think that the ripple effects when you put people in different positions trickle down into other positions. And when you go back to home plate, you say, well, what matters most? You're trying to walk this line of development and finding wins, trying to find ways to compete. Then you get into specifics that you recognize quickly that Joel Embiid is important. And how do you put him in a position where he is growing? And all those things, are put into a melting pot where, as the head coach, you got to make decisions, and those types of things have been most challenging.
Brett, do you have any starters locked in for tonight?
We will go with Joel, and we'll go with Irsan. We'll go with Robert Covington. We'll go with TJ as a starting point guard. Sergio is still uncertain, and we'll judge what's going on at the 2 spot once we get a little bit more of a gut feel with Gerald.
So you expect Joe to play?
I do.
Right, you got Ben here for the road trip, and if I'm not mistaken, the first time this year, right?
Right.
Nice to have him along. Is it a sign of the progression? I'm not asking you, timetable or anything like that, but just having him integrated with the team, good.
It is, Bob. And it's like, because it's starting to get, into a new year, and we're starting to see him, sort of without the boot and slowly be integrated into the team. This is a part of it, including him on the road. At times we got physiotherapists and a better plan at home if we're on really long road trips, and sometimes even on a one-off. But your point is true. It's a sign that, we hope not too far away. We can start integrating him more and more and more. And this is the first step, a small step to doing that.
Why did you feel like this road trip was the best one to start bringing him on?
Just new year, new year. It's things are moving well. His health is good. I think everybody is reluctant to give timelines because there really aren't any right now, and it's try to keep it transparent and responsible. And so we felt like, to bring him on the road in the new year and start drip feeding him into, life on the road with the team. He's been completely immersed in the team at home. We've gone through his sort of 3-pronged plan with his health, with me and him in a classroom, in a video room, and him with his shooting breakdown. We've hit those 3 areas extremely well. And we've been diligent with those 3 areas since September, since the news. And so it's all part of the next step.
Is his hunger, his excitement level, have you started to see that change at all as he's been able to do more and more?
No doubt. And the life that I live with all these guys, Jaleel, Nerlens, Joel, when it gets closer and closer and closer and they feel like, basketball isn't that far away, there's a different light at the end of his road. And so, there's just a bounce to his personality. There's a bounce to his step. And you do feel like there's a new way he sort of sees the world when he's with the team.
What was Ben able to do in shoot-around today?
Nothing.
Okay. How do you explain Robert Covington's season-long shooting slump, and what are some other ways he helps you guys on the floor?
Well, if you just go back to the defensive end, Andrew Wiggins, I think, was 2 for 15, the last time we played, a pretty good player. And Robert Covington, when you study defensive efficiency ratings, he's always amongst the top 2 to 4 small forwards in the NBA. I can almost just stop right there and say that's the value. At the end of the day, that's what he is a shooter. And shooters shoot, and hitters hit, and sometimes hitters and shooters get into a little bit of a slump. And the only way out of it is to keep trying to hit and to keep trying to shoot. And that's all I do with him. And so fortunately for him, he's got more sort of weapons than just, I'm not shooting well, I have to sit. He guards, he really guards. And so he becomes valuable for us. He's versatile enough to go guard, Isaiah Thomas, Crowder, he's multiple positions. And it's the holy grail now that as we search sort of the evolution of NBA basketball, the two-way players are elusive, guys that can make a three and guard. And he has been in a little bit of a slump, but to me the best way to get out of it is to shoot and challenge him to shoot and not read stuff and not hear stuff, shoot. That's what he does, and that's what I want from him offensively. I actually want him to shoot more. I want him to understand the difference between good and great shots, but I want him to catch and shoot it when he's open.
You mentioned single point guard before. TJ's 3-0 as a starter, I think, 3-year 9 wins. What's he doing this year what's he doing that he meshes so well with these guys of late?
I think he's starting to be more responsible decision making. I think that he's getting a little more confident with his three-point shot when people don't guard him, and it'll happen tonight. They're going to leave him and go double Joel Embiid. How we space around that, how he navigates. I think him recognizing time and score, just being a cerebral type of point guard is growing. We all recognize the toughness. We all recognize the Marine. We recognize the kamikaze attitude. He's got that. That's why he's in the league. But the polished up part of being an NBA point guard, I think it's the most important and the hardest position to play in the NBA. And that's a challenge for him. But I think slowly he's getting better. Even the other night, you look at the last 2 wins, he hit big threes in the fourth period in Denver. He had that floater down the lane against Minnesota. And it's just him growing. I'm sure him looking around and recognizing he is the only point guard probably produces a more comfortable, cocky freedom. But I just think that he's growing up and he's getting better.
Do you have any favorite spots you go to from your days back in Boston?
Straight up Com Ave to T. Anthony's, a large steak and cheese. I mean, I did it for all my life here. And I'll go and say hello to Joe behind the counter, and it's amazing. It's like, Groundhog's Day. Things haven't changed, and I say that in a great way. It's my pilgrimage up Com Ave is one of the true treats of my journey to Boston. I love it.
It's the best honey mustard around.
Pardon me?
Best honey mustard in town at T. Anthony's.
I usually drown it in ketchup, to be brutally honest, but large steak and cheese at T. Anthony's is my go-to spot.
Brett, what do you think about the way that Nerlens has handled everything this season, and especially these last few games, being able to go out there and play as well as he has?
I mean, he's growing up. I have a real fondness for him. We come from the same part of the world, and he has gone through a lot, trying to, stay healthy, figure out his role, figure out his future. We keep it extremely candid. There is no uncertainty about what I'm thinking, about what his situation really is. And I think that he's just been very professional and mature. He's handling it well. He looks forward to coming back to Boston and playing in front of his friends and family in his hometown. And I look forward to watching him play tonight. He's really treated it very maturely.
Joe's popularity has been immense, and a lot of it is because of the way he uses social media, the way he interacts with the fans.
Can you say that at start again?
So Joel's social media popularity has been huge. I mean, how much do you think that's really benefited his career?
I have no idea. I live in my house, in my gym, and I have no idea.
You haven't met any of his girlfriends?
I have not.
I'm joking.
No, I have not.
Then you met on Twitter.